Good day, and welcome to this impromptu broadcast of...
Well, it's a makeup broadcast because we were...
we were out of town yesterday, so this is a makeup, and we wanted to just invite you to this broadcast. It's dedicated to achieving your unique masculine, feminine, sexual dynamic. Wow. What is that all about?
Don't put that word in the broadcast.
You know, people shy away from it, but it's such a natural part of living. Everyone, come on, who out there in Samadhi Game Tribe land hasn't thought about, wow, I would really like to have a relationship that is full, dynamic, filled with love, and including a fantastic and beautiful sexuality. A sexuality that's real, that's deep, that isn't just surface, that isn't just a momentary fling, but something that has at depth the love of heart. And so I thought, why don't we just address this with Samadhi Game? Because Samadhi Game gives us all the tools. It gave us the tools. Why can't it give someone else the tools to find a relationship that's, loving and forever? Good morning, Jamie. Good morning to our guests who are joining us. If you join us on Ustream,
Greg was out doing yoga.
I did yoga on the grass this morning in the sunshine, and it was really lovely. And Robbie made a delicious, really fantastic breakfast for us this morning. I thought it was, really excellent. Thank you so much for keeping us nourished, filled with the elements that our bodies need in order to gain that physical well-being that can indeed engage in this relationship of a lifetime. This marriage of twin flames, this marriage of yin and yang, this making two one. And we just want to thank everyone for joining us and becoming interested in this love, interested in this game of samadhi that we play. How can we accentuate it? How can we make it better? How can we make it more dynamic? Rather than living our lives in sort of a middle ground of normalcy. We were born gods and goddesses. Why not act like it? Why not act like we can live with the fullness of love?
As kings and queens.
As kings and queens, gods and goddesses.
And I saw, Jamie, that you wrote on your page that you wanted to change your life. Well, through samadhi, through mantra, you can change your life. You can.
It's so possible. It's not only possible, it happens.
Turning the page. And then you just have to thank God for the miracles.
Before we get started with our mantras today, I wanted to, we're listening to Madonna. We listened to Madonna coming back from Denver yesterday.
Yeah.
Ray of Light is the album that she did, and it's just a gorgeous album, so I wanted to... just let everyone know how much we enjoyed the album. We're playing it this morning. We have been. And we might play it a little bit more. I just want to leave it in the background for now. But before we get started into actually doing the Samadhi Game mantras today, I thought what we could do is just outline the basic fundamentals of relationship. The basic fundamentals are the same fundamentals of achieving samadhi on the spiritual path. That's why this works. And basically that's identifying with your infinite forever self. Oftentimes Robbie will look at me and she'll go, forever.
Forever.
Forever. And it is. It's forever. I love her forever. Come what may. The oceans may rise. The earth may shake. But it's forever.
We hold on to each other.
Forever. And in order to be able to speak that language of forever, we have to identify ourselves with forever. Otherwise, we're just talking out of the dual human ego. So we can say forever because we know forever as ourselves. We know our divine identity is this I am that holds true, which is, was, and is to come, the Almighty, as is said in Revelations, is, was, and is to come, which was before and is after. So as we learn to identify with it, the basic fundamental of Samadhi game is to identify with that part of yourself which is I am. So that's number one. Number two is to figure out your creative relationship with the dual human ego. The dual human ego, there wouldn't be nothing here at all if it wasn't for the dual human ego. A lot of spiritual paths and religions will say, get rid of that ego. I'm sorry, but that's not the way that we look at it here in Samadhi Game. It's understand, form your relationship with, and create with your dual human ego. It's the tool of our existence in this level of existence right now, in this octave of existence. The ego is that which allows us to create. It's a magnificent tool. We don't just throw that tool out the window and then stand there in zero wondering how we're going to create. We actually use it. You couldn't create the beautiful art that you do unless you knew how to play with light and dark.
I would be so fearful. Yeah. I would say, I don't know. Should I put red in this? No, you just the ego comes up and says, I can do this. And then you're like, yeah, who did that?
And actually what it is it's the neutral witness. We're shifting our identity from the ego doing to the neutral witness using the ego to do. So it's a little bit different perspective. It's from thinking I'm doing this to the neutral witness, the Christ consciousness, which is I am using the dual human ego to do this. I am the neutral witness.
I think that's where the fear comes in, because the spiritual guide, us, whatever you're gonna say, I don't know, is saying, do this, and then you as the neutral, as the opposite, you're saying, I can't do that. This is saying I'm doing it.
By the way, I just want to I just want to honor this.
God, I love you. Animal.
And so
no, you made me lose my train of thought.
Okay, artists.
No, anybody. When you know what you have to do, but you're so used to being not doormat, but more humble, that is the God presence saying you are capable. Right?
It is. So, again, back to the fundamentals. Identifying with your divinity. You've got to do that. And it's a process. As you say the mantras in the first section of Samadhi Game, you'll become more and more aware of that which I am. And you can flesh it out as you start to understand who you are. You can start writing your own mantras about it. You can add to the mantras that we have in Samadhi Game. Yeah. And that makes it more and more yours.
True, that's what's different than the Bible, because the Bible says whoever takes or gives to this word, everything in this book will come to them 10,000-fold. But with Samadhi Game that you have created, each individual can make it and change it according to their own will. Not will, but desire.
Well, their understanding, their connection with their higher source. And it helps to develop the higher source when you do that. And then by figuring out the dual human ego, by becoming aware of it in the second chapter of Samadhi Game, that hungry ghost, headless shadow processing. In that chapter, and as you work with that, we'll become more and more aware of that, and it has less power over you, and you begin to act more from that queen, that king, that dynamic masculine or feminine personality that you're going to develop. Now, the third part of this is there's a chapter in Samadhi Game called Achieving Your Unique Masculine, Feminine, Sexual Dynamic. It's actually there in Samadhi Game. And if you haven't downloaded the most recent copy of Samadhi Game, you might want to go back to samadhigame.com and download your free copy of the new issue of Samadhi Game. And I worked on it over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and you can just flip through it. And each chapter, each mantra is outlined. You know,
what Robbie's referring to is there's a sample copy of Samadhi Game, which is actually, it's the whole thing. It's just an easy way of downloading it for the moment while you're on your computer. If you go to samadhigame.com, you'll see this little link that says Sample Saga. What does it say, actually? Let me see if I can see here. It says Sample Saga Book 1.
But it's the whole book. It's all everything.
Yeah, it's everything. It's the whole darn thing.
Copy and put it right here.
It's there.
Okay.
Let me just. Where am I going here? Back to pages. So you can download that. It's a really easy and fun way of reading Samadhi Game while you're online in your computer. And the pages turn beautifully and you can see everything there. But you'll see that there's a chapter, I think it's chapter 4 now, and it's balancing the masculine and feminine qualities and using that to create a dynamic flow between you and your partner. And so we'll go into some of that today too. So we're going to do a little bit of everything today, chapter 1, a little bit of chapter 2, and we're going to do a little bit of chapter 4, developing that sexual dynamism that can happen and can actually come out as a beautiful piece of art in our lives. Our relationships are art. Mm-hmm. So let's make of them art. So let's go ahead and go on and do some of this Samadhi Game. This is, let me just take us here to this part.
Never forget who you are, little star.
Back to us here and take us right on back to the opening pillar of light, the pillar of the world. I'm sorry I'm taking so long to get us there. But
Okay, you were out there. You're in a Zen mode.
Also, let me just show you this too. What we've done too, for those who are...
Made of flesh and bones, my life, my soul, you make my spirit whole. Never forget who you are, little star, shining brighter than all the stars in the sky.
There, I think that's better. Thank you. Thank you. Is that good now? If you, what I was saying about this link here is, with some of the changes I've made in the Samadhi Game, I've added this link here that says Archives of Live Broadcasts, Samadhi Game, Processing, Prayer, and Affirmation. If you click on that link, you'll find that it'll take you directly to the Ustream archive past shows. So you can enjoy looking at other broadcasts we've done, page broadcasts, and if you're having a hard time doing Samadhi Game alone, oftentimes it's kind of hard to sit down and just read it aloud. Just go ahead and page back to some of the old broadcasts, and then bring them up, and then if you don't want to hear us talking and giving introduction and things like that, inevitably in that broadcast we're going to be giving some mantras. So you can just sort of fast forward through to where we give the mantras, and then give the mantras with us, and we'll talk again, and hopefully not bore you, but you can fast forward again to the next mantra where we start giving the mantras, and that way you can get the mantras done with us rather than alone. And I know that works for me. Sometimes when I'm having a hard time doing the mantras on my own, I just come to the archives and do them with myself.
Me too.
You know?
Me too.
It really helps, you know. And then you feel, and you can actually feel...
Like the power of 3.
You can feel the power of 3 when you're doing it that way.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that also it might be a little bit esoteric, but you actually feel all the people that joined in that day on that broadcast, their presence is etched into that recording just as much as Robbie and I are physical on the recording. So however many people join in on those broadcasts, there is a record of that in the etheric octave, which is held in that broadcast. So enjoy that as well. So let's go to opening pillar of light, the pillar of the world. We're going to establish about us this unblemished light that can protect us and keep us inviolate from negativity. And that's the first step in establishing this relationship with other, is establishing this relationship with the divine within yourself. So let's go ahead and go on and do that. Come on, together. Sublime I am, Samadhi that I am. enfolding me now in that mighty, magic, electronic pillar of cosmic light substance. My identification with its magnificent humility, thoughtful creativity, so powerful and complete, that I artfully and magically alter every polarity with healing unity. Within this majestic pillar of light blazes that love as the violet, compassionate flame, in, through, and around my etheric, mental, emotional, and physical bodies, effortlessly dissolving, consuming, transmuting, and reconciling the dualities of my human ego, charging my world and all I contact with the tangible substance, living awareness and conscious activity, the presence and superconscious samadhi,
of all enlightened beings,
liberated and ascended masters, seeing, feeling, and hearing this light as it shines, radiates, and resonates within me as a visible pillar of the world, stabilized, supported, and sustained by the brilliant, elegant One, and infinitely sensitive to that invulnerable state of divine I Am Samadhi. Turning to the mantra. Eternity is my home. I do all that is necessary to actualize this ever-fresh realization and organize my life around it. And there's a picture here of yourself ensconced, surrounded by this radiant light, this pillar of light, which you have become, these wings of light surrounding you, these emanations of light surrounding you. This is what happens as we say these words, as we give this mantra. It is answered. Our calls are answered. Our affirmations are answered. There is no error in the science of the spoken word, in the science of mantra. It happens as we say it. This weekend, we went to Denver. It's part of our ongoing 30-year honeymoon.
That's right. Every day is an anniversary. We're going to do
Every
this
day.
till we're 115.
Every day. And we went to Denver as part of this 30-year honeymoon and sat with Wayne Dyer and Reed Tracy of Hay House Radio and learned a lot about the way that he expresses himself and the way that he's put himself out there to the world. And I love Wayne, and I love the way that he comes up. He's very good at quoting the various classic writers of all time and bringing those quotes into focus. Why it is that we need to love, why it is we need to find I am in our hearts and to live from that I am. And I found something that he and the Hay House organization and his lectures need. They need a way of actually achieving that which he's talking about. They need a practice. The most that the practice was for over the weekend, the most that we practiced was sitting there and listening to him and Reed pretty much speak about what it was that's so great about enlightenment. It's one thing to hear enlightenment. It's the other thing to speak it yourself and listen to yourself say it. So Samadhi Game is written with that in mind. We actually say the words that Wayne Dyer would say to us as we were listening to him in a meditative stance. We would be sitting there listening to him speak about the wonders of enlightenment and thinking, yes, I'd like to do that. Oh, God, yes, I should be living more that way. Oh, how wonderful to live in that direction, to move in that direction with my consciousness. And that is wonderful inner affirmations. But to say the very words that he's saying, to say the very ideas of Samadhi Game as mantra, becomes much more powerful. Because now you're not listening to someone else say it. You're saying it for yourself. You're inculcating, you're establishing a rhythm and a matrix of enlightenment which you yourself are saying. I mean, I can't say it any other way.
Well, he gave all these instructions of what to do, and they said, go do it.
Yes.
Without
Yes.
a step to guide, like, okay, you have to go over these 3 stones, and then you have to walk around that bush, and then you have to go straight, and then he just said,
Yes.
get over there.
Yes.
Without the instructions.
Exactly.
And there's like 2 or 3
Yeah.
rivers you have to cross
Exactly.
in life. And
Exactly.
where samadhi allows you to do the mantra, and then the road rises.
It does. It does. And to say it, to do it. So today what we're doing is we're doing this creating this dynamic balance between the masculine or attraction or polarity between the masculine and feminine of ourselves. So let's move on. Let's do another mantra here. I want to find I'm going to go down to affirmation and prayer of divine masculine presence and power. Let's go ahead and achieve this by saying it, and let our chakras start to shine with the ideas that are inculcated in this mantra. Together. O sacred masculine essence of my eternal being, Holy One in my core, I am that I am. I am that divine masculinity within me now. I am the will of that kingly consciousness being done. I am the unchanging awareness of each moment, the natural spaciousness of each instant. On earth that I am, even as I am that in heaven. This sacred, tangible silence, death to my ego, source of my sustenance. This radiant gift of love, heart of my purpose, the Dharma, freely given to all. This shining void of stillness consumes every temptation of duality. This presence of samadhi dispels all cross-currents of the human ego. I am transfiguration's total surrender, forgiveness, and reconciliation. I am resurrection's focus of wisdom and power. I am the absolute cooperation with the inevitable,
Ascension's
expanding glory of eternal victory. All this freedom forevermore I am. Om, peace, amen, I am. And so what we're doing now, we've just, all of us, men and women alike, have affirmed the masculine presence within themselves. So we can feel it. We know it's there. Whether you're a man or you're a woman, it's there. Now, you might have noticed at the end of this mantra, I put a little thing there that says, men 3 times, women 1 time. You see that written right there? There it is. And you understand now what you can do is, if you want to amplify men, the masculine power potential of yourself, give this 3 or 4 times in a row, or 9 times, or 12 times, and let yourself build a momentum on the concept, the ideation, the wording, the wisdom, and the power that is in this mantra. That will draw out more of your masculine potential and make it more real. Otherwise, it sits there more quiescent, but as soon as you say it, it becomes more powerful, more masculine, feminine. On the feminine side, we have the affirmation and prayer of the divine feminine. Let's go to that mantra, and let's give that mantra now, all of us, masculine and feminine, together. I am the divine feminine, the direct and connected fullness of beauty and forgiving grace. With me now in the intuition, dance, and relations of my heart, chalicing the hallowed vision, purpose, and paradigm of the golden age dawning. Blessed queens of Buddhic, angelic, and Christic realms, Kuan Yin, Green Tara, Holy Mary, O Pallas Athena, Parvati, Sarasvati, Lakshmi, whom I am. Here are calls for compassion, wholeness, and the manifest oneness in the flesh. And here, now formulate your intention. If it is your intention to manifest within your life a dynamic, sexual, loving, tantric, beautiful, giving, sharing love, a love of twin flame, a love of dynamic relationship, then say that prayer. See it and feel it as though it were already manifest. You're not going to wait any longer for your relationship. You're going to allow yourself right now in this moment to say, I feel it now. Get yourself outside of the realm of the thinking that you've had. Let me come back to the screen for a second. Remove yourself for just moments to allow yourself to feel as though that intention that you are hoping for is already there. Allow yourself to feel all the currents of fulfillment, of sexuality, of tantric wonder that you would feel if you were looking into the eyes of your perfect lover. Don't wait. Don't wait. Even though you may not know yet who it is, don't wait. Allow yourself to feel now what you would feel if you were in fact right now looking into them, and you are looking into their eyes right this moment.
Don't look at me.
And then we'll go back and say, now you allow yourself to feel that.
It's powerful.
And now, saying with us together, guide us, intensify our path,
The
direct and connected fullness of beauty and forgiving grace, the manifest experience of healing and truth, and the mastery, liberation, and triumph of enlightenment. I am the cradled babe of eternity, safe in the bosom of omnipresence. I am the cradled babe of eternity, safe in the bosom of omnipresence. I am the cradled babe of eternity, safe in the bosom of omnipresence. And this last part of this mantra even addresses that very question. Jamie, thank you so much, because it is our insecurities of wondering, I'm not worthy of that love. I am not worthy of looking into the eyes and feeling this dynamic range of love. Somehow there is that affirmation that's going on in the sub-frequencies of our consciousness, which is why we're dealing with the very fundamentals of the Samadhi game principles.
You have to trust.
You do have to trust. But if you can day by day pretend that you're looking into the eyes of your perfect lover,
Or if somebody offers you a flower, you trust that the intention is from the heart.
yes, you do. There is discrimination that comes in, of course, in all of our relationships. Is this true? Is this not true? Is this real? Is it not real?
It's not
You
real.
know.
It's just storybook. Believe me.
But as
It's
you,
real.
it's
And-
real.
and
But as you clear your consciousness with the daily application, the daily pressurization of your consciousness with these Samadhi game mantras, you will come more and more clearly into that relationship with your divine other, whoever that may be. But treat it now, even practice now, from the beginning of the path, even at the very beginning, you practice that which even those at the very end of the path are practicing. Perfect love, perfect love. And allowing yourself to feel as though you can do this. And even in sports, when a golfer wants to perfect his swing, he looks at other golfers, videos of other golfers with already perfect swings. And he imagines himself giving those same swings. And so you can visualize yourself in the perfect swing and the perfect gaze with your lover. You can feel how good it is when you look into their eyes. You can feel how feminine you feel or how masculine you feel when you look into their eyes. Mm-hmm. So these are the fundamentals. This is the fundamental affirmations of a twin flame relationship, drawing that one who is destined to be your partner for eternity to you.
With no doubt. It's like when you play basketball, what happens? You go and you shoot the ball, and you already know it's going in, correct?
Yes. You know it's going in. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful example. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to take us into chapter 2 of Samadhi Game. Let me just roll us in there. Roll us into this chapter. This is the enlightenment with squares. I'd like to do a square today because what we're dealing with is the desire for and the fear of. I thought maybe you could write with your beautiful
Yes.
handwriting.
Uh-huh.
The desire for and the fear of, and I say dynamic masculine feminine attraction. We're just
Okay.
addressing it head on. I mean, we all want to feel that when you look into our lover's eyes. We want to, like, feel it and know that we're not being taken advantage of.
And
We're
what's over
actually,
here?
we're actually, and this is the desire and fear. What's the opposite of this dynamic masculine feminine attraction? I wrote down this morning lackluster masculine feminine attraction, because sometimes we settle for the lackluster relationship. We settle for lackluster sexuality. We settle, and we'll go into, and there's reasons for that. And so let's go ahead and see what those reasons are by doing the squares, and see what it is that draws us to each of these squares. We're going to use this duality to our advantage. We're going to become aware of this frequency of duality, of dynamic masculine feminine attraction and lackluster masculine feminine attraction. We're going
That's
to use
just
it.
fitting in the mold of what we were supposed to go. Ma and Pa kettle.
Yeah.
Ma takes, Pa sells the seeds. Ma gathers them.
Doesn't she?
Ma, Pa kettle. Nobody touches. Just Ma raises the children and cooks and cleans. And Pa goes out and brings home the bacon.
What's for dinner, honey?
Now, it's coming. You better eat it, or I'll smack you upside your head.
All right, darling.
Pa goes out at night with his friends, and Ma tends the children. And that is from dusk till dawn life.
Yeah.
And we vote what? No. Do we vote no on that? Do
Yes,
we?
we did.
We're not in the mundane.
But what we're going to do is we're going to look at all four quadrants, because each of these, remember, each of these quadrants can be used artistically at a certain time. And we can even use that. We can even use that part as part of this fun thing that we're going to do with
But
sexuality.
what's the center? How do you get to that?
Let's do the four first.
You have to?
Yeah, let's do the four first.
Oh, I always skip ahead.
Okay, let's do the desire for. We can, but listen. Before we do that today, let's do the desire for. This is our square. We put it down. The desire for and the fear of dynamic masculine physical attraction. And
The
opposite is lackluster sexuality. Let's just put lackluster sexuality. And you can just even say up here dynamic sexuality. Come on.
You better just get that off your mind now. We're talking about relationships. You are just in the
No, I
gutter.
mean, come on.
You love the gutter, right? Come on, stop.
The gutter sometimes is a great place to be. Believe me.
Gag. Okay. Come on, let's go.
Okay.
It is good. I didn't mean to say gag. Sorry. That's just, he makes me eat these vitamins every day. And
So, okay, the desire for that dynamic masculine and feminine attraction is, it's excitement. Mm-hmm. It's energy. It's wonder. It's youth.
It's
physical.
It's like fantasy.
It's fantasy.
You did excitement, energy, youthful.
Youthful, energetic, exuberant.
Okay.
It's this dynamic, physical. It's young. It's attractive.
Yes.
It's attractive. For God's sakes, if someone were standing in just like we use medicines, when we use a medicine, we don't use usually we don't use a neutral herb. We use an herb that has yin or yang, a powerful yin or a powerful yang, and it's effective.
If you use too much,
it's effective.
It kills you. It's effective.
It's effective. It brings forth offspring.
That's true.
You get offspring out of. What do you get out of this dynamic sexual? You get children. Mm-hmm. You get the wonder of growing dynamic. So you can go on like this. This is why we're drawn to this dynamic physical. We want it. We have tremendous desire for this twin flame relationship, this inundation in love.
What's the fear?
And let's go into the fear. What is the fear? Being consumed. Mm-hmm. The fear is losing self.
Mm-hmm.
losing our own identity. The fear is losing perspective. The fear is getting addicted.
Yeah.
The fear is becoming attached,
Yeah.
trapped. And now we begin to see the reasons why some of us the fear is heartbreak. Thank you, Jamie. We can begin to see the reasons why we do not choose
Go near it.
Dynamic
Same as the
physical
sun.
sexuality.
If you go in the sun, everybody says, you're going to get sunburned and get cancer. You go into a relationship,
Yeah.
he's going to hurt you and leave you, blah, 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 blah.
Leave you high and dry.
But you still have to go and smack you upside the head. No. Okay, go.
No. I'm not going to go yet. So these are reasons, and unless we actually come to grips with it and actually say, needing them more than they need you, yes, it's so
The imbalance.
The imbalance.
Yeah. That's what this square is going to be. How to keep that imbalance from happening.
Yes, by becoming aware. You just situate yourself in this awareness.
Yeah, and we haven't even come to the realization of how to do that. What you just wrote, Jamie, but we will as soon as we write down let's do it. Come
Okay,
on.
well let's do
Excited.
a desire for a lackluster relationship. This is like a sort
Safe.
of, it's status quo. Let's just live in that status quo.
What do they
It's
call
safe.
it? Wait, it's
Let me
called-
let
what do
me
they call it? Politically correct.
let me tell you another fear of dynamic masculine and feminine. When you exhibit dynamic masculine and feminine, that means that each of the pairs of that masculine and feminine are glowing. The masculine is attractive, and the feminine becomes more attractive. And part of the fear of that is that my feminine counterpart will become so attractive that other men will go.
That's the
"Ooh."
truth.
It is,
As
it's
soon
like,
as
and
you show
other
sensitivity,
women
then,
will,
then both you attract both. But
Yeah.
you have your breastplate of light righteousness.
But
to
we know,
show them that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we know the dynamic energy between the two of us, and so we're comfortable
Mm-hmm.
with that. But it's nonetheless, what I'm saying is that is a
True.
reason. That is one of the reasons why people will shun away from this and say, and, I know there's some relationships that you've been in where your partner has wanted you to just stay hidden.
Oh yeah.
Not let you
Yeah.
shine your wings of light and joy and wisdom.
No,
and
because it's
it's threatening. It's threatening. You can even write that down. Threatening.
Yeah.
Threatening.
they need to have their time on the podium, and if I'm there, it takes away from that. But there's another thing is when I was younger, I was always protecting my girlfriends who men were coming after, and so I appeared very masculine, and thus labeled as no, I'm not gonna say the word, but
Yeah, don't
I guess-
label.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I wasn't. I didn't put out those vibes to attract men. I was more in protective mode, so they kind of stayed away from me. But I didn't mind that.
So let's go on the lackluster. The lackluster, why is it that we desire this lackluster? Because it's safe, it's secure, it's politically correct. We desire the lackluster because it's more. Did I write down stable here?
You're stable.
Stable here.
Politically correct is.
And also lackluster sexuality is sort of a place where people can go when they're insecure.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you're insecure about your sexuality, let's just live a lackluster sexuality life. Let's not go there. Let's not open up that can. It may, and you can hide things. You can hide. You can hide your difficulties. So that's something that you can. So you begin to see that there's a reason that we actually move towards those lackluster expressions of sexual dynamism.
And then fear of lackluster is you become a wallflower.
Yeah, you become a wallflower. You become
What they call it, old maid.
Old
Well,
maid.
men or what? What do they call it?
I don't even know.
spinster.
Spinster. Isn't that the term
Women
for a
as
woman?
well. Well, so
I think it
is,
is.
so is
I guess a spinster
what is a
man.
man? Who cares? He's a widow.
He's a widow or a bachelor or
Yeah, bachelor
old
forever.
old bachelor and old, you know.
There's a fear of lackluster sexuality. That's a fear. What you?
Hey Tanya, welcome to Samadhi Game today. And
Wait, fear of lackluster. Fear of lackluster. It means that you're not virile.
fear of being fear of being lackluster.
Yeah,
Fear,
means
it
that
gives you don't have the you don't have
You're
that
impotent.
you don't have that power. You don't have that strength. You don't have that. You don't have the hardness. You don't have the wetness. You don't have the polarity.
You're not
You know?
attractive.
Hmm.
You're not. You're a wallflower.
Yeah, you don't want that to
Nobody
happen.
notices you.
Yeah, that's why.
That's the fear.
And that's why you go on. That's why there's thousands and thousands of emails that come across daily saying, "Would you like to have a larger?"
Yeah. Oh, do you want to have liposuction? Do you want to make
Yeah,
yourself look
exactly,
better? Do you want to be
exactly.
more attractive? Do you want to take these vitamins and you become? So that's the fear, and everything that comes in a bottle doesn't touch.
So Tanya's saying, so then you detach from the relationship? No. The fear, what we're talking about, I don't know if you joined us at the beginning, Tanya, we're talking about the 4 squares, which we're doing here. This is the Enlightenment with Squares process. And as we go over them, we're looking at them and saying, what is it that is we looked at both the dynamic aspects of sexuality and the lackluster aspects of it, and why we're drawn to or repulsed from either side. So, and by learning about this, by understanding it, by seeing it neutrally, we get to have that neutral witness consciousness about it, and then our relationships will benefit from that, as they do when we identify with that perfect self that we are. And then once we have that foundation, once we finish the square, we're going to go into chapter 4, and we're going to do a little sexual exercising. So, dynamic
verbal.
sexual,
But
verbal.
listen. Hold on. What's the center?
Okay, so let's
Okay,
find
the desire.
This is
for
the work that
dynamic
we're doing.
masculine feminine attraction.
Yeah.
The fear of dynamic masculine feminine attraction, and the opposite is the desire for lackluster masculine feminine sexuality, and the fear of lackluster masculine feminine sexuality.
That's right.
And the thing that allows you to stand in the middle and say, which one do I want, is what?
Yeah. So where you want to stand and where you want to paint with this, because some days it might be really actually really powerful to act like a wallflower. It might be just the perfect thing within the circumstances that you're in. That wallflower activity is just,
Voyeur.
Voyeur.
You say the wallflower. What the wallflower does is you sit back and you watch everything. That's a wallflower. That's what I used to do.
The desire to be a wallflower.
What's the center of this?
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what
Yeah,
we're
let's
looking
find
for
the
this.
center. What we want to do is want to find a center.
What's the center of both of these? The desire to do it and the desire to,
Be lackluster.
just not to do it. So what's the center to get you there?
I would say.
Want?
I would say, in terms of, I would say a dynamic life or a creativity.
Creativity. That's a good one.
Creativity.
You think creativity? I think so. Okay. I
I think
kind
creativity. Right, creativity in the middle, and then spiral it out.
Yeah. It goes through all quadrants.
Yes. As you write down creativity, as we live creatively, we can use any quadrant of this dual human ego by our will, by our volition, to create beauty, to create wonder, to create excitement, to create harmony. Whatever is needed in the moment,
Yeah,
we can use
because
it.
every one of these quadrants are our personality. We're not avoiding them. We're just not staying too long.
We're not getting identified. We're living detached, as you say. We're living detached from every one of these, and yet we can use them when we need to. That is mastery. That is samadhi. We live from creativity rather than from addiction. We live from creativity. We can move in and out of any paradigm of existence that we desire in the moment. That is attainment
because
of
sometimes
samadhi.
you want to be, shy. Sometimes you want to be forthright. Sometimes you want to just be a wallflower. Sometimes you want to be
And
politically correct.
let's give
There's always moments.
Let's
You
give an
can't
example.
be Gloria Steinem all the time, and
No.
you can't also be the lady from Modern Family, all the time. So you have to be able to go around.
Let's just give an example. If you're in a room full of people who are caught in the idea of rough, tough sexuality and masculine, I'm masculine, then you don't want to exhibit your shine too brightly because
'cause you'll be attacked.
You'll be attacked. So in that
As a
moment,
woman.
the best, yes, absolutely. In that moment, the best thing to do is
Be the
remain
wallflower.
a wallflower. Remain
The fear of lackluster. No,
yeah,
the
use-
desire for lackluster.
Yes, that you desire, allow yourself to be there, and that is the creative use. And on this planet, with all the dualities that are happening, we've got to be smart about this. We've got to be wise as serpents and gentle as doves. So let's now go into the last this other chapter. Let me take us to it without spinning your heads. Let me see if I can find it here. I've rearranged the chapters in Samadhi Game. I just want to go back and show you. This is now chapter 3. I've renamed some of the chapters as well, so it's wise to download your new copies. Chapter 3 is developing your alchemical momentum. This is a great chapter to put chapter 1 and 2, these two concepts that we've been dealing with independently this morning of your divine identity and this understanding of the dual human ego. You put it together in this chapter and you develop a momentum on it. That momentum becomes heat, it becomes pressure, and heat and pressure change consciousness. So then we're going to go into the 4th chapter, if I can just take us through to it. Here I'm scrolling as you wait patiently.
80 pages.
Okay, here.
I see that.
This is, okay, now this is what we're talking about. Achieving your unique masculine, feminine, sexual dynamic. These particular mantras have been here in the book. I just hadn't named them by their own chapter. And I thought after this weekend it really felt as though they needed to have their own chapter in the book. Chapter 4, Achieving Your Unique Masculine, Feminine, Sexual Dynamic. And it's the perennial piece of art, the man and the woman embraced in this beautiful tantric embrace, and the energies flowing beautifully between them. The energy flowing down the front side of the feminine body and up the spine of the masculine body, creating a spiral of light between the two lovers. And why not? Why should it be any different than this beauty shared as one? There's two mantras here in Samadhi Game. One is called Puddle of Love and the other is called Warrior's Lore. And these two mantras may be used in partner practice or within oneself to find the inner masculine and feminine in their purity. Now what we're talking about today is pure. What we're talking about today, this masculine, feminine, dynamic sexuality is pure. But the reason that it's not spoken about in most spiritual camps is because it has a lot of energy associated with it, and no one wants to address that energy. It's too dangerous.
Yeah, I know, but that's the core of life. That is the seed of life. This
So,
is this is the reason that those movies were made about the chalice.
Mm-hmm.
This is the seed of origin of creation.
But if you'd like to go a little bit deeper than organized mass religion, then you have to start to address these things. If you start to uncover your divine identity, you start to draw to you that divine polarity, which is your twin flame.
Where miracles
And you
happen.
need to know how to address the issues that come up when twin flames come together.
How much bliss can you stand?
That's it. A friend of ours just as we were coming together, looked at us both and said, "How much bliss can you take?"
You've been friends with her for 20 years.
And she's a saint. That's Rani Giraji. We've spoken about her in past broadcasts.
And when she passed away, she didn't pass away there, but she was sitting right there. And people were taking pictures, and there were these little orbs of rainbows all around her while Gregor and I were dancing. And she asked us to dance to "What a Feeling." You know, that Flashdance song. And she passed away a few days later.
And the idea is that there are certain oppositions to the oneness. Even within yourself, when you're trying to achieve samadhi, you're trying to balance the yin and the yang, the masculine and feminine within yourself, you're trying to understand how to use it. In those instances, when you begin to have that awareness of that, then your dual human ego says, no, hey, step back. Who do you think you are to do this? And likewise, when you and another come together, you can expect that there will be opposition to that union of twin flames, that balancing, that use, that creative use of yin and yang as you two come together in relationship. So the reason that we're addressing this today is because you need to know the fundamentals of relationship as you move in towards this deeper awareness of yourself, because it will become an issue for you in your life that you'll need to deal with. Is that not true?
So true.
Okay. So in this puddle of love, this warrior's lore, these two mantras, these groups, you can, if we're sitting in groups, when we have groups of people here at Samadhi Game Meditations in Tijeras, we sit and we look at each one takes a partner. And it doesn't have to be partners. If you're a partner in reality, then you stay with your partner in reality. If you don't have a partner, then you'll find someone in the room of the opposite sex, and you take them and you look into each other's eyes as you recite these two decrees alternately for each other's. You look into the left eye of each other, and you recite the couplets. While women shine the fullness of their love light, men offer their emptiness of conscious presence. And if each one is reciting this and the other feels as though they're not reciting this poetry with enough presence, with truth from the depth of their being, then the other raises their hand and says, "Come back to me. Give me more. I want more of you. Get deeper. Find your deeper self." This is a great practice. And you can actually, men and women, you can synchronize your breath together. And it's actually the men's duty to synchronize their breath with that of the women. The women are holding this beautiful conscious connection of their breath with all of nature all about them, more so than men. So men can use the women's breath to balance and to find themselves attuned to that natural cadence of nature just by following the breath of their divine lover. So let's go on to Puddle of Love. This is said by men to women. We'll go ahead and give this mantra as soon as... let's go ahead and give these mantras as individuals first. So the way that we say them then is, I am a puddle of love. So let's go ahead and give this mantra, and then we'll follow it by warrior's lore. I am a pillar of power. And then we'll come back and give them to our partners. I am a puddle of love, joy and forgiveness streaming from high above. Come here to master infinity, nourish seedlings to full-grown trees. I, boundless ocean of brilliant breeze. And now the warrior's lore. I
am a
pillar of power, focusing purpose in every hour, giving gifts from my highest source, seeds of truth and dharma and more, conquering silence, stillness, death, warrior's lore. And now, what we'll do is we'll give these mantras to each other. So I will give this mantra looking at Robbie, and women, if you're out there, give this mantra saying it. If you don't have someone in the room with you, say this mantra as though you're looking directly into the eyes of your lover. Pretend it's so now. And you say, I'll say to Robbie, you are a puddle of love.
I am a puddle.
You don't, and just you can just listen to me.
Okay.
And if I'm not like, giving the fullness of my truth to you and saying to you how much I love you in these words, then you raise your hand up, okay? Mm-hmm. And tell me and say, hey, wait a second, I need more from you, okay? Okay, so you just, I'm going to say this to you. You are a puddle of love, joy and forgiveness streaming from high above. Come here to master infinity, nourish seedlings to full-grown trees, you, boundless ocean of brilliant breeze. And so you should be able to feel that down in your heart, that I am telling you I love you.
You make me cry.
And that's what you men out there who gave this mantra to your lover, that's what you would say to them. That's how you would say it to them, deeply, profoundly. And truthfully, your lover has to hold up their arm and say, oh, wait a second, give me more, if you didn't say it deeply enough. Now, women, you say it to your man. And you say this, and go, I'll sit here and I'll listen to you, Robbie, and you just say, you tell
I
me.
will.
Okay.
You are a pillar of power, focusing purpose in every hour, giving gifts from your highest source, seeds of truth in Dharma and more, conquering silence, stillness, death, warrior's lore.
Thank you, love. And so what we're doing is we're breaking out the polarity with these mantras. We're breaking them out, whereas we each have masculine and feminine within us. And it's wonderful to be able to use them. We each are living in this world of dynamic masculine and feminine sexuality and lackluster masculine and feminine sexuality. We can choose them as we will. And in these mantras, we're actually choosing either to be more masculine or more feminine. And by doing so, we create this spark. Pull apart two poles. And that spark goes until you say, honey. And you're drawn. That drawing to happens. So that's where our relationships can last a lifetime. We know we have the balance within us because that's where our true heart is. Yes.
You have to constantly watch, and if something goes awry, the other should notice, and that's when it's addressed.
Mm-hmm.
Not then communicate when if the communication barrier comes up. That's the beginning of the end.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, right?
Well, yes, but it's not. You just have to break through the communication barrier.
Yeah, but you have to address it from the beginning. You
Yes.
don't wait till it's cancer.
Yeah, exactly. You address it, and even from the beginning of relationships, you open up the communication to the most deep part of ourselves, and these mantras help us to do so.
It allows you to actually talk about your faults, and as soon as you address your faults to your partner, then purity comes.
And it not only allows you to address your faults, but it also allows you to address your desires, your what you need out of relationship at this moment, what you need out of even your sexuality, being truthful and open about what it is that you want to experience in this dynamic physical attraction between you and your lover. So I wanted to address some of these ideas today and bring us a little bit to an awareness of these wonderful flows of energy that can exist between two people. And let's just give this mantra in closing. This one single. This is a mantra that is written to express what happens when two people become one.
To be truly
Confident, strong in myself, connected in sharing, no worries, no fear, into my depth delve, holding my presence with sure, firm embrace, masculinity false and my feminine erase, allowing myself to feel her as me, surrounding the pillar of eternity, delight in her shifting to full open lilt, excuse my desire, her reality to tilt. For I am learning, a mere fruit of deep intimacy. The flower is, you see, found in open heart transparency. To feel through the pain, the suffering, the loss, and deep into my feminine, my purpose, my gift toss. To hold all domains from humor to death, while with sensitive movement her breath to caress. Down the front side of her body, so delicate, so soft, up through my spine to spirit aloft. Our breath thus doth mingle, and two-ness become tingle, in the glorious one single. And so I want to take us back to this picture again. This mantra is a depiction of the ideation that comes so naturally in this picture. this union of masculine and feminine, this power and this lilt, this power of masculine, this lilt of feminine that comes together in a crashing, beautiful dance that we can have conscious awareness of rather than just letting it slip into the background of
Right.
our unconscious minds.
Be just a, addition to our life. It should be the love that flows, allows the garden to grow, allows the food to become more tasty, allows the house to become more cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
Instead
there-
of
yes.
instead of, what do they call it? Chores. It doesn't have to be a chore. Oh no. It can, and how many things get done? Is that truth? And we even get naps in here and there.
I wanted to share sort of an intimate moment. Robbie and I were out eating dinner at a restaurant here, and I saw a friend of mine who was sitting at the bar. And as we were walking out of the bar, I introduced Robbie to this friend. She hadn't met him before, and he was not doing well in his. He shared with us, right off the bat, that he wasn't doing well in his relationship. That they were having some problem. And Robbie turned to him and said, what did you say? How did you do that? You turned and you gave me a big kiss and said, this is what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Something.
No, because this guy is a leader of like a spiritual group.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I said, you just have to do this. And
you have to have this type of support, this type of.
yes, you have to be
and-
able to turn, and it's not like
And how did you do it? You went. Yeah, she really
like
laid one on me.
cartoon. I did cartoon like Roger Rabbit and Jessica.
Really laid it on me, and it's true. I mean, when a man has that kind of support,
He has to take his wife and just smooch her. He has to show her that he is.
Yeah.
He wants her,
Yes,
and she has.
she has to open to him.
Yeah, or say I'm not.
And you could
you
see.
can never say I'm too busy.
Yeah, no, you can never say
No,
that.
you have to.
You can
The
never say
most
that.
important thing of a pillar is the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Pillar could be huge and beautiful, but if it doesn't have the foundation, it's falling over.
So I just wanted to share that because it was a moment of truth, and I could see that the love that Robbie and I had in that moment and shared tangibly and visibly with my friend was something that he needed to see in order to break him out of this
Cycle of
the
it's called a
cycle
wake up call.
The cycle of politically correct. I guess he thought it was politically correct to be asexual and lackluster in his.
Nobody kisses in public anymore. What the heck? Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah.
And yet everybody wants to go see a romantic movie.
Everyone
What is that?
Yes, I know. Everyone wants to live it vicariously, but not live it themselves.
So we can do
Live-
that, and let's do it. Come
live-
on,
yes.
everybody.
Live, everyone. We're encouraging everyone, and
Mm-hmm.
please, live your lives as gods and goddesses, as kings and queens. Do not live your life as simple mortals in a realm where there are rules that say you can't do this and can't do that. Live it big, and live it full, and make your life what great storybooks and fairy tales are written about. They're written for you as an example of what to live. That's what we have decided to do with our life.
Mm-hmm.
We're living it as big and as nobly and with as much integrity as is possible. And we
Shine,
love
let
it.
your light so shine.
Let your light shine. Don't hide it under a bushel. And that means the same thing for you as it does for kings and queens. So with that, these parting words. This was an impromptu broadcast
Yes, it
today.
is, because yesterday we missed it because
Yeah.
we were driving back from Denver, and it's almost like a Valentine's Day.
I
day.
feel like it. It is a Valentine's
Yeah.
Day show. But anyway, we're going to be again here tomorrow. If you can join us tomorrow, and we'll take
Wait,
up.
what did the shoe shine guy say yesterday? Well, first of all, we were kind of like on a little bit of a honeymoon since we just got married,
Yes.
and when we were walking down the street, I was always have my head in the clouds and I'm looking up and I tripped and I twisted my ankle on my right leg and bumped my knee because I supported that weight with my left knee, so I had both legs hurting. But forget that. No way. I'm going to pull myself up, dust myself off, and get going. And then we were walking. Gregory came back to get me at lunch. We were walking down the street. It was bright and sunny.
Find a restaurant to go to for lunch.
And he's kind of holding me because I have 2 left feet. Or two,
she was a little bit
wobbly,
unstable, so I'm
like Thumper.
I hold you anyway,
Yeah.
despite whether your
And this
legs
man
are good or
who's
bad.
shoe shining, he said to Gregory, "Where'd you get her out of the flower patch?"
She looks like she's come fresh out of the flower patch.
And then he goes, and then you said something back to him, and he goes, "Well, then you must be the bee."
That's right.
So there we go, shining without trying.
Yeah, I
It's
really,
good.
I can say, you know,
I turned back to him. Gosh, I wanted to go kiss him. That was a
it was a beautiful moment.
beautiful moment.
You know, and those kind of beautiful moments can come to us all when we decide that
People
we're going to.
clapped when we kissed in public.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's true. I'd forgotten that. We sat down, I think, at the Hard Rock
outside.
Cafe, and we were sitting outside. And as we sat down,
You kissed me.
it's natural for me to reach over and kiss this one. For God's sakes, and natural. I just reached over and gave her a big smack on the lips, and the people sitting at the tables next to us started applauding. And I think that and I was grateful for that applause, not because my ego needed to be stroked, but I was grateful that they saw and wanted that themselves, and they will have it. Everyone will have it. Everyone will have this love that is showing across the planet, and will show more and more as more and more of us come into that awareness.
It is awareness
of love, and decide that we're going to live by love. And let me just, I know we said we were going to leave a few moments ago, but let me just digress for a moment. Because it's not just that we love each other. Our love would be, in my opinion, our love, if we didn't have Samadhi Game, our love would have, we have to have that higher pinpoint.
Our love would have been, I would have been insecure. I would have said, I don't really know, is he really, or should I do this? Or should I pack up all my stuff and leave Croatia and come back home and take this step? But everything happened like somebody was leading me, like a higher vision.
And I really believe that when you have something like Samadhi Game, it doesn't have to be Samadhi Game, but when you have and share a pathway of enlightenment together, when you share an understanding of the ideas that are established as this pathway, how we're going to go. It's like when the hero and the heroine are on there in the great movies that we see. When they come together, they know that there's a path that they have to follow to get us to the end of the movie.
And dodge.
They have to go through certain things. They have to attain to certain. They have to walk certain steps in order to get to the place on the map that says you got to be here at this time. Otherwise, the whole world falls apart. And Samadhi Game is like that. It gives you a map of how you can move together. You can come together and you can share this together if you create it yourself with this other person. It doesn't have to be Samadhi Game, but take Samadhi Game if you will. It worked for us. Take Samadhi Game and use it as a way to say that there's a higher tone. We have the love. We have this dynamic sexual attraction.
The mantras really work.
And if you have this that goes ding up here and says, this shining star above us keeps drawing us and leading us and giving us our next step on the path, giving us the direction, then it becomes safe. And you can express it with confidence because you know that you have this to strive towards. I don't know if that makes sense for you, but it certainly does for me. I'll try more and more throughout the years to explain this more perfectly.
Yeah, because the language is a higher language than we understand. And I keep asking Gregory, please explain dual human ego, explain neutral witness. He understands it really good, but I understand it as, the person in the center who says right from wrong. Which way should I go, left or right? But it's much more deep than that. So, yes, moment by moment, week by week, 2 times a week, you can start explaining. Explain to me nothing, as Ricky used to say to Lucy.
So we're grateful to have you. Grateful that you came, Jamie, Tanya, and all those who will join in the future for these broadcasts. Download your new copies. Check out the sample Samadhi Saga book link on samadhigame.com. It's a very cool depiction of Samadhi Game. Use the mantras not only for your dynamic sexuality and your dynamic relationship, but for that attainment that you need in order to be able to walk freely into the kingdom of heaven. Much love to you. We're going to leave you again with some more of Madonna's beautiful work, Ray of Light. Much love.
Substitute for love. Famous faces, far off places, trinkets I can buy. No handsome stranger, heady danger, drug that I can try. No Ferris wheel, no heart to steal, no laughter in the dark. No one night stand, no far off land, no fire that I can face of you, my substitute for love, my substitute for love. Should I wait for you, my substitute for love, my substitute for love?
You see,
Now I find I've changed my mind. This is my religion. I ran from my house that cannot contain me, from the man that I cannot keep, from my mother who haunts me, even though she's gone, from my daughter that never sleeps. I ran from the noise and the silence, from the traffic on the streets. I ran to the treetops, I ran to the sky, up to the lake, into the rain that matted my hair and soaked my shoes and skin, hid my tears, hid my fears. past the churches, in the crooked old mailbox, past the apple orchards, and lady that never talks, up into the hills. I ran to the cemetery and held my breath and thought about your death. I ran to the lake, up into the hills. I ran and I ran, I'm looking there still. And I saw the crumbling tombstones of forgotten names. I tasted the rain, I tasted my tears, I cursed the angels, I tasted my fears. And the ground gave way beneath my feet, and the earth took me in her arms. Leaves covered my face and smudged across my back. The black sky opened up, blinding me. I ran to the forest, I ran to the trees, I ran and I ran, I was looking for me. I ran to the lakes and up to the hill. I ran and I ran, I'm looking there still. And I smelled her burning flesh, her rotting bones, her decay. I ran and I ran, I'm still running away. from love. something